What is up, Kandi crew? Welcome to this episode of Best Kandi Ever. Let me do that again. We'll cut that out.
You literally walked into my mom.
Hi. How are you?
You walked into the frame like the second we started recording.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What is up, Kandi crew? Welcome to this episode of Best Kandi Ever with me, your host, Renee, aka Bassdropprincess. Today, I have a very, very special friend and guest of the podcast. She is an inspiration and is also someone who I would describe as a go-getter and someone who wants the best for the EDM community and more specifically, the shuffling community. So without further ado, please welcome my good friend, Jessica, aka Desert Warrior.
Hello.
What's
Thank
up, girl?
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
Yes, thank you for being here. Oh my gosh. How have you been? I have not seen you. I want to say the last time I saw you was at a Disciple show here.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think that was like January of last year. It was like one of the last few local shows that we actually had. And it was a great show too.
I know, it's freaking insane. For those that don't know, Jessica lives here in Vegas as well. So I've actually known her for a couple of years now. But yeah, dude, it's just like so insane not having shows, especially because I feel like before we were going to a bunch of them at one point.
All the time. Every Tuesday, there was Beauty Bar with the bass. Every Wednesday was the house and the techno. And then on top of all the event companies throwing it on the weekends, there was never a day or there was never a week that went by. There was not at least 2 to 3 things going on.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. So do you kind of substitute that with virtual raves or are you just kind of like doing your own thing? I know you're super busy.
Yeah, in the beginning, it definitely was virtual raves. And in the beginning, it was really fun. But then after a little while, kind of got a little sad because it really brought back all the memories of meeting people and dancing around. And you can make it as real as you want to, but there's just something different about being in the crowd surrounded by tons of people you don't know. And honestly, I think I took it for granted big time because now I'm just craving it more than anything.
I know. Fingers crossed, hopefully for this fall. But for those that don't know Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about yourself to our audience that isn't too familiar with your face yet?
Absolutely. So I started from the beginning, I guess. I've been a raver since 2010. Kind of fell into it amongst friends and it kind of became everything that I was. And throughout the years, I just kept finding what it is to be a raver and what all the music is about. So every year just brought new music, new vibes, kind of finding myself in between. And in that time, I really fell into shuffling. And I always had friends that were super amazing at it. And I've always been a dancer my whole life, but shuffling really, there was just something so fresh and so new about it. So it wasn't actually till a couple of years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, that I really started practicing the true basics with the Running Man and the T-step. And I was like, this really is who I am. And I was figuring out who I was for the first time within the rave community. So a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, me and my homegirl got to know each other, Mel, and we really realized that Vegas is lacking a shuffle community. There's a ton of dancers, a ton of flow artists, but nothing to really there's no crews out here. Everyone's in their own crews in other areas, but we knew that there was something that needed to be done, and people have always spoke about it. So with that came Vegas Flow. Me and Mel, amongst a group of others, just came together and we're like, what can we do to bring everyone together and meet all the other creative individuals out there? And so we started doing meetups, and we had a huge park sesh meetup that you were at. And I remember you brought your little pug. It was so fun.
Oh my God, that was so long ago.
Right?
I want to say that was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. It was fall of 2018. So it was like November or something. And I just remember that day was like, it blew my mind. I was in full blown tears at one point because this little idea that we had grew much faster than we ever thought, than we anticipated. So that's kind of who I became. And it has just been my passion ever since, is to find all the local dancers out there to help people come out of their shell and find their creative side, whether it was any type of flow art, any type of dancing, all the way from DJs, photographers. Like that's what Vegas Flow is. It is everyone in the community as one. So being able to bring people out, people that moved to Vegas and they didn't have any friends, or they didn't know anyone that was in the community, that's what we were all about. So the last 3 years has been my thing, my biggest passion ever. And it has grown to where we have met dancers from all over the country.
That is freaking insane, dude. It's so mind-blowing because your growth has become so huge. And I say that because I remember that Vegas Flow meetup at, I think it was like Desert Breeze Park. And at the time I like had just gotten a Pixel Whip and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, what is this? And you're like super warm and welcoming. You're like, oh, you should come. I was like, I don't shuffle. And you're like, that's completely fine. Because you had so many people that didn't shuffle that like did poi, or they basically were like into some type of flower. And I thought that was really cool because I haven't heard of a group that has like not just shufflers, but people that hoop, that orbit. So I think that is definitely something that makes Vegas Flow really unique and different. So I know recently too, you had Shuffle for Shoes.
Yeah, we had our third annual Shuffle for Shoes this year. And what that is a charity event that obviously everyone donates shoes, but it's clothing too. And we wanted to pick an organization that really meant a lot to us. And that was the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth. And we picked them because what helps the youth in all parts of the world come together when they're living in harsher environments. And it's always been music and dance. So that's how we wanted to give back to the community. And every year it's just gotten bigger and bigger. I can't even describe the amount of stuff that we got. Like you'd have to see a picture. And every year it opens up my eyes to how beautiful this community is, that everyone just came together and dropped off loads of stuff. I mean, this year was astronomical, and it went beyond shoes and clothing. It was food. It was essentials that the Nevada homeless youth really do need. So it was a beautiful thing, and I'm super excited to continue it even bigger every year. And hopefully we're really aiming for being able to meet up with some of the youth and teach classes for not only shuffling, but for hooping and gloving and poi and all the other flow arts, because it will get them excited. And who knows, it could open up an opportunity for them in the future that they never would have expected.
Hell yeah. Not only that, I feel like that'll help keep like a lot of them out of trouble, out of like violence or like, I don't know. I feel like it'll just give them more motivation, especially now. I feel like a lot of youth is, I feel like a lot of them do have mental health issues that kind of rose out from this big boom of social media. And I think more awareness has been brought to it, but I feel like because social media has gotten even bigger, there have definitely been more like suicides and cases of depression, mental illness. But that's so cool that you guys are even thinking about the youth. I didn't know that. I remember Shuffle for Shoes because I actually went to one of them. I think it was 2 years ago, and I remember like going through my clothes, seeing what I could donate. And at the time, I think it was only, you guys were mainly doing shoes, but anything that you didn't use, like clothing wise, you could bring. But that was, even then, I was like, wow, this is definitely something bigger than expected. And that's so awesome. How, like, why do you, like, I didn't even know you guys were doing that, but what motivated and inspired you guys to like even go that far, take that charitable step?
Um, so I kind of just had a revelation one day. I was driving on my way to UNLV when I was a student there. And as I'm driving on this corner, I saw the same homeless man that I've seen on and off for years. And it had been, oh God, it had easily been 6 years since I had seen him. And I just happened to see the day, and I would never forget him because he much older now, but just had the brightest blue eyes, and like the sun was just shining down on him. And every time I saw him, I would roll down my window when I was younger. So this time I was like, oh, I have to do it too. I'm like scrambling in my car to see what I can give him. So I just was only able to give him money at that moment. But as I'm driving to school and on the way back, I'm like, I was like in tears. Like I was just like, had all these built up emotions. I was like, what can we do? And Vegas Flow was brand spanking new. So I had an epiphany, and it was like, boom, Shuffle for Shoes, charity event. Let's give back. And that's kind of how it all started, was just that one moment with that sweet old man with the bright blue eyes. And he has no idea the emotion that he brought upon me and now to everybody else.
Yeah, he has no idea that he's part of your, pretty much your vision, your dream for Vegas Flow. That's so freaking nuts. Um, I think that it's even more incredible that you guys are doing that now because of COVID and the pandemic, and people losing their homes, their jobs, and really needing stuff like you said, the essentials. Um, like, can you kind of go over how this stupid virus has affected Vegas Flow, or even you? Really, it's affected everyone.
Well, it's affected myself deeply and Vegas Flow. It because I am me and myself as well as Vegas Flow is cohesive. So we had a lot of plans to be with the youth community during the summer and the spring, and all the plans that we had to start really having more meetups and bringing people together and having more classes. We wanted family days where people could come out. I mean, everyone always brought their kids anyways, but there were a lot of like my coworkers that have children, and they're like, oh, my kids would love to do that. So all these big, big plans that we had, and it just was abruptly stopped. Like, I remember we had our last Flow Shuffle meetup at Sunset Park, and we kind of knew what was coming, but Ravers are renegades. So we're like, let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. And 2 days later, done. So that really hit me mentally. I didn't know what to do and how to go about life, because for us, music is everything and being social is the whole part of it. So it took a big toll on myself and my partner as well. Me and Mel didn't really know what to do at this point. So unfortunately, we did take a long break. We didn't know if posting was a good idea. Like, we almost got confused. Like, we didn't know who our original selves were anymore. So that was a tearjerker. We eventually found our ways to be with the community virtually, and it was just it took many months. It took a long time. But I think the biggest thing for myself with the pandemic is I was so focused on being at every show and meeting every person that came up to me that recognized me, and then not having that interaction anymore was like my brain was going a million miles per hour, but everything else was slow around me. So it's been a lot to build that momentum back. I lost my creative side. I'm not going to lie. I didn't dance
Oh,
for
really?
I didn't dance at all for like 6 months. It was just being not able to have the area to dance, but also I had no motivation anymore. And I kind of just shut myself out. But in the last now 6 months, I have really been pushing myself to go be out there more and help motivate people more. And I think talking and socializing more has helped. But in that moment where we couldn't go out, it was a tough one.
No, it's hard, dude. It's so hard, especially like you're such a social butterfly already. I can only imagine it's like caging someone up. But before COVID, you were like shuffling almost every day, I want to say, because I would watch like your story because I think you would do like little lives, or I remember seeing videos of you like in my feed and stuff. And now that you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't like seen you in a while besides like the past Vegas flow stuff. So, are you like getting back into it? Like your groove is there now? A little bit more motivated?
Yeah, I definitely have been watching more videos, and I'm about to start taking tutorials to help myself progress, because I was at a standstill for so long, and now there's all these new moves and combos, and the choreography has been out of this world. So it's all about just getting up and doing it, and you excuses are going to keep holding me back. So I definitely make sure to watch videos all the time of people. And my partner, Mel, she helped me learn the Melbourne more. And we did that this summer when we finally could hang out. And learning that, going from cutting shapes to Melbourne, really transformed my mind. So once that day happened last summer, that's when I was like, okay, I was like, this is where the girl's been. This is where she's at. And then I just started going back into the garage and listening to music and playing around. And that's all it takes, is just getting out there and doing it, and not beating yourself up over not doing it. But
No, 100%. That's how I feel about working out, because for the longest time I was doing yoga like consistently almost every day. And then,
yeah, you were.
yeah, and then COVID started, and like a hot, warm room with tons of people in it is just not the ideal condition, especially right now. So I even like canceled my membership. And it's been like, I think in March, it's been about a year since I canceled it, but I've like eventually I think you reach that point where you're like, what am I doing? Like, I stopped doing this thing that I love that helped me like find myself. And just recently I started getting like back into my practice. But I think you just need to have like that moment where you're just like, this isn't me, or I miss a part of my old self, because like you can feel yourself kind of changing, you know? Like for me, it was just feeling super stressed out, like way more than normal, anxiety through the roof. So I totally get that you just needed to have that one day last summer with Mel.
Yeah, Mel is my girl. You know, she's with FTS, and she's just been such a big part of the shuffle community for so many years. So to have her as my inspiration, my business partner, and one of my very, very good friends, it is the reason why I can keep going. Amongst my injuries that I tend to get once or twice a year, if you
Oh,
take
like
those out of
ankle
the equation.
injuries, like foot injuries, right? From
Oh,
shuffling so much.
yes. And that's the thing is, right when I got back into dancing last summer, I went on a trip and I ended up rolling my ankle during the trip. And I just now am almost fully healed. So that was like 6 months of like barely being able to shuffle. So then I'm beating myself up even more. I'm like, God, I was just there. I was just in the zone. But it just motivated me even more. It was like, okay, number one, get healthy. That's the biggest thing with shuffling is if you get injured, and it is difficult to hear music and not be able to move. So I had to distance myself away from like certain little get-togethers. Oh, and but within that time, I healed up and took care of my ankle. And so now I'm back. I'm ready to go. It's been nice being able to, I mean, you can't really go out and dance anywhere. There's like some places that let you dance at the table. And if I can have that moment, I will take that moment now. And then it's all about safety too with your feet. Feet are so important
Yeah, I was
for
going to ask
dancers.
you, dude, 6 months is a super long time to not be able to shuffle. Were you like trying to shuffle like with one foot? Were you trying to at least get something in to at least so that one foot wasn't rusty?
Oh yeah, I there were definitely some slip ups. Going being out with us, some of my friends. There was a couple desert raves, and going out there, and I was like, you guys, like, don't let me dance, and if I do, like, don't stop me in the middle of my like get down, but remind me. And there were a couple times where I couldn't stop myself. Like it, it almost helped my ankle get back to that movement because you're so used to the doctors will tell you don't they're like rest, don't walk on it, don't jump on it. And at a certain point, yes, like don't do that. But after a couple months, I was like, no, my ankle needs to like rehabilitate itself. So it hurt.
Yeah. Did you end up breaking it or like tearing a ligament or a tendon or?
I don't know what it was. I got it x-rayed and there was no hairline fractures. There was no break. I just rolled it really bad. And I think that had I not like threw myself in the opposite direction when it happened, I thought I honestly broke it. And it probably would have been better to break it because it wouldn't have been a 6-month healing process, 6 months plus.
Right.
But yeah, it was a tough one, but now it's something that motivate myself even more to get out there, keep dancing. And that is why we have all these amazing dancers and flow artists who are constantly putting out videos because it really is inspiring the rest of us.
You're so awesome. You know, you remind me of like pro skateboarders because they fuck their shit up. Like they break
Yeah.
so many bones. I forget which skater it was, but my boyfriend and I, Justin was showing me this video of like this massive jump that he had to do over these stairs, and he attempted it like 10 times before he finally ended up breaking, I think, his femur. And
Oh
then
my gosh.
yeah, and then like after a year, he returned to that same stairs, like the same uh group of stairs, whatever, and he like tried it again, and of course he ate shit, but he eventually landed it. And I was just like, that is like like that's someone who has passion. And I feel like that's the exact thing that you have, because if you're going to injure yourself and then keep on going, even though you know like the dangers of it and have been injured from, you know, dancing, that I think that's some serious dedication. I don't think people really think about that, or like kind of see what effort and practice goes into you when you know, shuffle at a rave or shuffle at a meetup. I don't think they really see that, like all the hours and practices and tutorials that you watch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. There is a lot of effort going to it, a lot of stamina. Um, there's, and that the number one thing is to really, and I mean, I need to practice what I preach, but stretching is like the number one thing to do. So, like after an injury and you heal, you need to make sure that you're constantly stretching. Like, get down at, well, when there are raves again, there's a big crowd, like go down to the back of the crowd, sit your booty down, and get all your muscles warmed up, because you're so used to just like going out there and just immediately dancing that you tend to forget the importance of prepping to dance for 4+ hours in a night.
That amen. That is so I definitely agree, because I don't even shuffle. I mean, I was like an amateur baby shuffler like a long time ago, but after a 3-day festival, I feel so beat up. I feel like I've like went to gym 3 days in a row for like 4 hours. That's true. I think you definitely need to sit. I feel like for me, like getting older as I rave, I'm like, okay, Renee, you need to make sure that you eat a lot and you need to sit down. And now I have to wear like the most comfortable shoes. I have to take frequent breaks. And that's how I know like I'm an older raver, but that's okay. And that's just like I need to do me. So if that's something that you know, that you have to do like as a shuffler, is like stretch and take care of yourself to prevent the injury, I think that's completely necessary.
Yeah. And as you said it, veteran ravers, both of us, like we're a decade into this.
You started
And
when did you start raving?
I started raving in 2010. It was Beyond Wonderland, the first Beyond Wonderland ever, actually, that year. And went to it on a whim. And then as we're leaving the rave, my homies are in the back of my car, and I was just like blown away from what we just went through, because it was one night only. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you want to go to EDC?" I'm like, "What's that?" Electric Daisy Carnival, and showed us the video for the 2010 trailer. And I probably rewatched that like 500 plus times in my whole decade of raving. It fucking sold me. I was so like, "Yep, this is it. We're going." And I had a like little like double life because I was a cheerleader. So I couldn't
Oh,
tell
really?
anyone. Yeah, I was a cheerleader in high school. And obviously, like that, it was not accepted back then. Like we were the weirdos. And so it was like kind of cool because I had this like alternate life, that raver by night, cheerleader by day.
That's
Uh,
hilarious.
yeah, but I love that. I thought it was so fun. What was your first rave?
Oh, EDC 2011. So you've actually been raving longer than I have. So that's why when you said Beyond in California, I was like, oh shit, or 2010, like that, super long. I went, my first Beyond was like only 3 years ago, even though it's right next door to us. It's just, well, even if it's a state like next to us, it's still a lot of effort to like plan and make the trip and go out there. But I definitely wanted to go to Beyond again last year, and I actually had a VIP ticket for it too and everything. Yeah, Timmy and I were gonna go, and of course, I think it was like a week or two prior that they officially canceled it, right?
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I like Beyond is my I remember back in the day they used to call your first rave your birthday rave. So Beyond's always been my birthday rave. And I try to go to it every single year. And same thing, like I was at Crossed Music Festival last March,
Oh, you
And
were. That's right.
yeah, I went to the last one. And while I'm there, I made the decision. I was like, I'm going to be on. Like, I text my best friend who I was going to go with. And I was like, okay, you know what? I don't care. I'll get my shifts covered. Like, I'm not missing Beyond this year. And then a week later, we found out. So I did buy my ticket for this year. So I'm like,
For the one
probably
in Washington in Paradiso, or not?
no.
I was like, wait, which venue is it?
No, I got my tickets for
SoCal.
the San Bernardino one. And I bought it hoping that it was gonna happen. But you know what? If it doesn't happen, oh my gosh. Sorry.
No, you're good.
If it doesn't happen this year, it's okay. It's going to happen in the fall, or if it's going to happen next year, we got the tickets. They're going to roll over and we're going to be ready. And we've had plenty of rest. This is the most rest any Raver has ever had in their history of being so. So I think we'll be ready to go. Second that they give us the go ahead.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know have you been to Electric Forest?
No, it's
No?
on my list. It is on my list. I've seen your
Okay.
pictures and your stories every time you go, or the time that you went, and I'm obsessed. I fell in love just by watching your videos.
Oh, you would love it. You would absolutely love it. No, I asked because I saw this post on Instagram, and I think that the the county where the venue for Electric Forest is, the council approved certain dates in August for it. So there's like this rumor that supposedly Electric Forest will be happening and that they're going to divide it up into like 2 weekends. And that's the most promising thing that I've heard so far this year, because I know Ultra just got canceled. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I still have faith because vaccines are starting to roll out now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just like, okay, maybe this is it, but it's I don't know, because there's like that new strain that came out of the UK, and I want to say I read something, I don't know if it's true, that there's a new strain that came from Africa. So I was just like, fuck. like like we just got this vaccine and we're not even sure if it's going to be able to combat like these two new strains. Like unlike the flu shot, it actually covers a whole bunch of strains. So I think like a lot of people think that when they get it, it's only good for one specific one, but actually there's like enough like medicine in there to like help combat all the other strains. But with COVID, it's so new. So I don't know, 2021, I feel like I don't know how to feel about it, especially because there's like a new administration. So supposedly things are supposed to get really different, but I feel like at the moment it almost feels the same. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I think that it for sure at this point, everyone is doing what they possibly can to make it happen. And that goes for the production companies, event companies, DJs, trying to make everything work. Now it's no longer hoping for, it's working for. What can we do to make it happen? How can we make it be the safest way? And I think with so many different people with their heads in the game, we're gonna make it work. It's gonna happen. I would like to see something be open and music going down this fall. Are we going to have people in the crowd freestanding? That I think is the biggest question of them all, because that is where that's where the danger lies. So I think that if we just keep pushing the not desert raves, drive-in raves, if we keep pushing the drive-in raves, whether it's your car or your pod experience, that just gives everyone so much ammo to just keep going. And once these vaccines come out, I know Pasquale is very upfront about everything that he wants to do to make it work, which is nice because it's peace of mind. It gives us hope. And I think that's what we need is we just need that hope that it's going to return. And nowhere in history, anytime that there's been anything catastrophic, from sicknesses to wars, music has always been there. And this is the first time that music has really not been able to express itself. So it's the whole world. We're all feeling the pain, and we're just got to keep pushing through. And one day we'll be back in the crowd. And let me tell you, I was being a veteran raver, throw me in the back. I would not go in the front, maybe not even past the middle anymore. And now when I go back, best believe I'm going to be making my way to the rail and I'm going to be headbanging just like when I was 18, 19 years old. Like we're going to take it back to the old days because we miss it. We need it. Give me all the sweaty bodies.
It's funny you say that. Actually, just I posted this. I have this thing called rave moments that I kind of curated, which are different rave moments. And the one that I just posted today was when you and your squad finally make it to the rail and you realize you made a mistake. And that's just because for me, I'm super like now I just don't want to be in that like super crowded environment where I'm like everyone's touching me. Like I'm fine if people are like around, but if you're like headbanging and I could feel somebody like right behind me or someone's hair, it like kind of freaks me out. And I just, oh God, I'm just old now and I just want to hang in the back. But no, rail riders are cool. I just can't do it anymore, dude. It's too much for me.
It was too much. I had to go. Like I saw, like it's a lot of work to get up there. And I think the last time I rode the rail was at a WMC event here. It might have been for Keizo, or actually I think it was for Keizo. So this is probably like 2 years ago. And, just like it was fun, but I witnessed a girl just like whack her head on the rail. And I don't think that her boyfriend or her friend saw it. And so I had to like tap. I'm like, yo, your girl just like really nailed herself. And we had already like discussed like, hey, when you guys leave, can we take your spot? So
oh wow, that's some raver etiquette.
Yeah. See, you gotta have that. That's another thing. Like we gotta, as veteran ravers, we need to teach everyone, especially the younger generation of ravers, the best ways to get in and out of crowds and ride the rail and just be respectful in general. Because if chances are, if you ask somebody, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, no, not a problem. Hey, we're about to leave this set in like 30 minutes. It's like totally cool. And then guess what? You're exchanging numbers and Instagrams and you become friends for that like little brief moment. But yeah, after I saw that girl whack her head on the rail and then they left and we were up front and then everyone behind me, they weren't so nice and they were like, they didn't get the etiquette thing. So I was like, okay, we're going to go hard one last time.
Yeah.
And, but it was rough.
Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with riding the rail. It's totally cool. I think some people, I've seen it where they'll ask you to be like, or they'll ask if you want to switch for a second. They'll be like, hey, can I like be on the rail for like a second? Either because they want to like get a video or they just want to like headbang real quick. But no, raver etiquette, I feel like it's not even that hard. It's literally just saying like, excuse me and sorry. So that's why like whenever I go like all the way to the back, I'm always like, excuse me, sorry. And there's normally never any problem. So when I hear about all those crazy like fights or like whatever the hell going down at shows and festivals, I'm just like, well, did you say anything or make any eye contact? Because I've had that like at least once every festival where some big ass dude will be like, and I'm like,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
you
take you
know,
down.
yeah. Oh my God, that just kind of brings me back because it's been so long since we've had a festival. So I'm like, oh my God, I forget some of the rudeness, but whatever.
Yeah. And I mean that's why us older ones are in the back now. But I don't know why this keeps going off.
Very good.
Hold on. Oh my gosh. So sorry okay.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently the night mode doesn't work very well on alarms.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what was I going to ask you? Oh, so did you like ever stop working? Like, I know you're working now, but did you ever stop working during all of this?
Yes, I did. I stopped working the day that they announced that we were shutting down. I work at a bar. I work at Golden Tiki. So with it not being a restaurant, there was no ability for to-goers. Actually, I don't think anyone was open after that for a little while. But because of us being a bar, I didn't go back to work until end of June.
The lockdown
And
started here in Vegas, I think March, like the end of March, right? Like middle of March.
yeah, it was I think it was right around St. Patrick's Day, I want to say. Maybe a little bit before, maybe a little bit after, around that. Yeah, I was out of work for quite a long time, and that's no easy feat when you're used to being on your feet.
Right. Yeah, because of that, I feel like that's why I've seen with a lot of other influencers, I feel like I've seen either like this big surge in their social media presence, or I've seen like the biggest absence. And I feel like it's definitely of course, it has to do with COVID. Everyone's going through their own shit, but I think that it's great that you're still able to like keep Vegas flow going despite like that pause, especially because here, I think for a while there wasn't any meetups or you couldn't have a gathering over 50 people. I want to say, I don't even know if that's the case anymore because I think
I
clubs
don't
are open, like strip clubs and stuff.
I was wondering about that the other day, actually. I have no idea. I was just actually talking to my boyfriend about that because of Terrace After Hours at Hustler. And they had on top of the strip club on the third level, they had after hours on Saturdays. And that was like a huge place for shufflers to go to.
Oh, what? Okay, I didn't know that. I have a
Yeah.
friend that goes to that, and she said that it's really chill. They play. I think she said they play mostly like techno and house, and I always wanted to go and check it out, but that went to shit real fast. But I don't know. I feel like there's so many different like loopholes too, because if you serve food, your restaurant, and you can stay open. I mean, I don't care. I used to be so no, everything needs to stay closed. Like this isn't right. We gotta flatten the curve. And while that is true, people need to be able to feed their kids, put money on the table, pay their rent, not get evicted. So whatever, as long as you wear a mask and if you're symptomatic, stay home.
Yeah. Do your part. That's all it takes. And we live in a service industry city. So
I know that's why it's super hard.
asking us to stay completely shut down it was unacceptable. It's impossible when probably I'd say like 85% of the city works in the service industry or in the show production industry. So I'm happy that we were able to open up a little bit more. It's been nice to have Disco Pussy has been having their nights. I personally love going to Club Soda. It was nice to have them back at Park on Fremont. So that's been, I only go like probably like twice a month just because.
Wait, I don't think I've ever been. Is that like a bar or is that like a night?
Yeah, it's actually right across the street from Commonwealth, diagonally. And it's a restaurant in front. And then in the back is a courtyard. and that's where they have a lot of seating for their restaurant. So they have been setting up the DJ booth, and then there's a ton of tables out there, so everyone's able to sit down, enjoy the music. I mean, you can dance at your table, and just, girl, you gotta check it out. And Sundays, bass Sundays.
What? Okay, I didn't know.
Yes, yeah, we'll have to go together because I just went. Not this past one, but the weekend before, and they were playing some gnarly whoops. Like, it felt so good to headbang and just being like around people. And it's not a crowd of people, but just seeing everyone else dance with their friends at their table. And then sometimes it's my friends up there DJing. But it brings back that wholesome feeling of being a raver. And I only give myself like twice a month to go out and do that. Because I obviously don't want to burn myself out either. But yeah, it's been really nice. They have house nights, techno nights, and then Sunday's bass night. So me and you will definitely have to plan a night to go out there so you can get your bass on.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, I had no idea because the last thing before shows like started happening consistently in Vegas. I don't know if you remember, there was this like event called Dub Church at the Rio. And I want to say it was like every Tuesday, but they would just have like a whole bunch of local dubstep DJs come and play. But I haven't heard of any like specific dubstep night in so long. So that's why I was like, what? Like they're actually playing bass music? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's all mainly local artists. I think that they sometimes get a couple people from like surrounding states. But yeah, it's good vibes. You know, it starts out like, it goes from like 9 to 1 or maybe like 9:30 to 1:30, something like that. And it's a great time. The music's blasting, and um, I it just it's nice to be able to just see people out again. It makes me feel more human.
Right.
But yeah, and then hopefully we'll be having more things to come in the future. I don't know why Vegas can't have a drive-in when we have like all these empty parking lots that are as big as an amphitheater, but
No, for real. I think that we should definitely be able to have one. It's just so strange because you see California like who's super locked up. I think they actually just lifted some orders recently, like hair salons and I think nails and tattoo parlors can be open. But compared to, for example, Florida, I was just there. It's like a different world. Everything, like the majority of things are open, and it's wild because California is still racking up all these cases, and it kind of makes you think like, okay, like it's this type of legislation or mandate versus the other. But when I was in Florida, people were wearing masks. I went to Universal and it was super strict with the mask wearing. And I remember my boyfriend and I were on one of these rides, and one of the workers there was on the microphone was like, please keep your mask on. And there was like signs everywhere, and they were super strict there. But yet, like with California, with actually staying home, like their cases are still rising. So I feel like it's like what do we do? Like how, like what can we do for everyone? Because these, like the cases and things being open, it's just kind of like, I don't want to say contradictory, but I feel like it makes things not add up, you know?
oh, 100%. Everything that you're saying is literally what I'm thinking all the time. Like, how is it possible that it's almost been a year?
I know,
And
dude.
I can't believe, like, for the longest time, it felt like it wasn't that long had passed by. And then after the fall came, it was like, oh my goodness. Like, I felt like I just blinked my eyes and we were about to start festival season again. And so I feel like it's going to be kind of a shock when that 1 year comes up because no one anticipated it to go this long. And now we're here. But all these other places, like you said, you went going to Florida. I actually, I loved watching your story about that. And it got me really hyped. And so me and my friends decided to get tickets to go Dirty Bird Camp in Orlando.
Oh, when is that? Oh my gosh.
It's in May, at the end of May. It's actually technically a week before EDC in Vegas. But yeah, so with the unfortunate possibility of that not happening, we're like, okay, you know what? Let's do something for ourselves. Let's go out there. And I'm really excited because it's going to be a lot of shuffling. I'm hoping that I get to meet a lot of dancers that I have followed for quite some time. And it should be a good time. A hotel rave. I've never been. I always want to go to Splash House in Palm Springs. So that's what the plan was last year. So it'll be really fun to take it to the next level on the east side.
Hell yes, you need this. You absolutely need this. And yeah, you need an outlet. We all need an outlet. And if this means that you're going to go there to have fun safely with friends, then so be it. I think that it's important that people see like how it is everywhere, not just what's like on the news. But regardless, I just think that what you've continued to do is like so great. And I wanted to ask you before we forget, but do you have any candies that you want to share?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I probably should have brought this one up when I was talking about Beyond Wonderland, my first one. But to bring it back, so 2010, first rave ever. Knew from other ravers to make our own candy. So we made like our own little single bands and didn't know much of anything. So it was at the end of the night, and there was this girl who was decked from head to toe in candy. Like from what I can remember, I believe her whole outfit was candy. Like
she was candied out. She was a candy kid.
She was a candy kid, candy queen, candy god. Like she was everything. So me and my best friend at the time, we didn't want to be those people, but we were like, oh my God, like she has so much candy. So we were like, should we go up to her? And we did. And she was you could tell she was tired, but we were like, listen, like, yo, this is for real, our first rave. So she gave us each one of her cuffs. And this is the cuff that I got. And it is super elaborate.
This is freaking beautiful. Can you describe to our listeners like what it looks like, what it is, so that way they get more of a visual?
Yeah. So it's definitely stars. They're little like twinkle stars, I would say they are. So I didn't get a story from her, but for me, it was like I was at like that little twinkle fairy in the crowd all night. So I was literally on my tippy toes, like running through the crowd and stuff. So when I got this, I was like, that's really cool. And when you have it on, it like spins around and like dances with you.
Yeah, they're like these giant charms. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine how much work goes into it. And I definitely have kept it. I don't wear it a lot because of the reason it being so old, and it looks like it's really well put together, but still, I would be really sad if this ever broke on me because I don't think I'd be able to fix it. And yeah. So that was my first big candy cuff ever. And then something that
majestic. Sorry, it's so epic looking at it. It looks like 3 candies in one. So
I know, and like I don't know, you can't really tell. It's like some of it is like pearl, some of it is iridescent, and then some of it's like that matte color. It literally is a little bit of every type of bead you would find in your kits. So I think that's what makes this one really, really unique.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the most epic first candies ever. Like that was your first one. It took me like 3 years to get a cuff.
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous about it because I was like, God, I was like, this girl's gonna be like these young kids. I was like 17 years old. I looked like I was 14. And then people are always saying like, oh, it's my first rave, but no, for real, it was, and it was really nice of her. She didn't have to give me such an elaborate piece, and I think that was really nice because it has carried down the way of all these years, and I will never give it away. This is always going to stay with me. So I like that. It is it's like in my little box of antique rave candy.
Yeah, that's like a classic one. No, you can't give away.
No, not ever. I wish I could make them myself. I've tried, I've failed.
Dude, me
Probably should
too.
work on it. I can't. I just it practice makes perfect. It goes with everything, but it's a difficult task. And I have a whole case of beads and charms just collecting dust. So maybe we can have a
A
candy
candy
making
party. I was
day.
about to say, I have candy too. I haven't made it in so freaking long. We'll have to arrange something.
I would love that because I want to make new stuff. I haven't really made new stuff in a long time, and especially when like certain groups of friends are all about it and some aren't. Like I've always been all about it, so I would definitely think it'd be nice to bring that back. Even when you're just going to like a club soda show, like a girl gave me a candy, and I was like, dang, I was like, oh my god, no one's plurred me in so long. And she just like spotted me. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, can I come up to you? I was like, yeah, that's fine. Um, and it was really nice that people are still like asking and not being so like all over you. And yeah, we got to trade it. And it was just something really simple and sweet, just a single band. But it was nice to have that again. And I'm like, I want to be able to do that. And it's just so, I don't know how people are going to feel about like trading in these times. So that makes it a little bit difficult. Like, are you allowed to plur? As long as the both parties agree, is it okay?
Right. I actually just made this TikTok video. Ravers at the first rave, and one of the scenes is where like somebody gives me a piece of candy, and then the next scene right after is me sanitizing the shit out of it because I feel
I
like
saw that.
just to be safe, just to be safe. I mean, I'm sure by the time we have raves, it'll be fine, but you're going to definitely have those germaphobes like me. But even like you said, the fact that she came up and asked if that was okay, I feel like that might be a thing that we see carry over once festival season starts. Like just asking, like, not, I don't want to say permission, but I guess kind of like consent, like, hey, is it okay? 'Cause you're kind of making physical contact.
Yeah, and especially when you don't know someone, like it's a completely different story if it's your friend. Um, but yeah, that one, it was really cute how she came up to me. I was just like, yeah, of course. I was just like, I could not say no to that. And I'm really happy that I got that. But now that she had that on her, just like little things here and there, I want to be able to do that. So I was like, well, maybe there's a new way we can express plur. I mean, there's many, many ways you can express plur, but the idea of trading, like,
I know it's that
maybe,
physical touch. It's a physical touch
yeah,
and transfer of love.
yeah, that's what it's all about. So it's interesting. It's like, how do we get past that? Perlers, I guess, are always a good one. We could just maybe like make like long necklaces. And so we could just
Slingshot
like,
them
I know,
over.
on to you. Yeah, because then you can't bring your head to each other how you're supposed to trade it.
Oh, right,
But I
right.
mean,
Those
if you're both wearing a mask, I guess I don't know.
yeah,
There's so many politics with that, but
I know.
um
What can
it
you
gives
do?
us you can't, and it just gives us more time to make some more beads. So when the time comes, we will have so many we won't know what to do with, and we'll be like giving them out, begging, like, please take this.
Yeah.
Beads on beads on beads, candy on candy on candy.
That's right. Just utilize that time now to create candy. Hell yeah. But Jessica, I want to thank you so much for being on Best Candy Ever. I freaking miss seeing you. And I was honestly wondering how you're doing. So I'm so glad that you agreed to be on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for asking me. And I think about you all the time, and I see all your videos and your posts. And honestly, it's inspirational that you just kept going. So I'm really happy we had this moment. And I would love to take you to a club soda night to give you that bass that you're yearning and burning for.
Yeah, no, I am totally down. Oh my gosh, I'm really excited about that. So go ahead and drop your plugs where people can find you, Vegas Flow.
Yeah, so Vegas Flow is on Instagram and Facebook, just Vegas Flow _. And then you could look up it is a private group we have a private group and then we have our Facebook page. So you can just look that up. You just have to answer a couple questions, super simple, like what Vegas Flow means to you. And I think the other question is just like what you're wanting to learn or take from it, just so we can get an idea of who is joining the new fam or who is part of it. And then for posting videos, you can use the hashtag #ThatVegasFlow. A lot of people just use Vegas Flow, so it's a collaboration now, either or. That way we can see it and we can repost it. We do post a lot of locals, but we would love to post other people around the places. And then for me personally, I'm just on Instagram, Desertwarriorxo. And hopefully I'll be posting more content soon. I will be posting more content soon on dancing for sure.
You will. You're manifesting it. You're putting it out there.
It's coming. It's coming.
Hell yes. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for being on here. And we'll see you guys soon, Kandi fam.
Love you.
Some last things, Kandi fam. It'd be so appreciated if you guys could please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and let me know how I'm doing and what you like, what you'd like to see improvement on the podcast. And yeah, that would help support Best Kandi Ever out. Also, if you guys haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and leave me a comment. Also, if you guys aren't following me yet, please do so. Bassdropprincess, Best Kandi Ever on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And for some mean dubstep, follow Skudda, aka Skudda Music. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time, Kandi Crew.